On this episode of the Elite Advisor Podcast, we're going to hang out with Dr. Joe Hill, who is a coach, an educator, and I love his concept around team intelligence, TQ. He's going to talk to us about how healthy people become healthy leaders, how you need a team to reach your full potential. I love this topic. I've been challenged a lot in my career in this topic. So Dr. Joe has a lot of great ideas to share with us. Let's jump in. Dr. Joe, thank you for being here. I've been really excited about this episode. Thanks for taking the time.
Oh, what an honor. What a privilege.
All right. Whenever one of our guests has financial services experience, I always like them to start there. Obviously, you've done a lot of other great things. We'll get into your kind of core, your passion, what you teach people. But can you give us a background and mix in there your financial services stint?
My financial services story. You want to hear that?
Let's start.
We're going to start with the blooper. Oh,
yeah.
My goodness. Yeah, school teacher for a couple of years right out of college. I went into teaching because all of my favorite people on the planet were my coaches in high school, and I wanted to do the same thing, right? I wanted to give back in that way, but I'll be honest with you, I kind of got bored. I just got bored. I was a Phi Ed and health teacher and coached everything under the sun. And I wanted to own an airplane. I literally was like, how are we going to make this happen? So I found a buddy who had a dad in the insurance business. And I took a summer and tried to sell whole life insurance to all my teacher friends. It didn't go too well. I came crawling back to education. I tell you what, I knew how to hustle, but that was a whole different kind of hustle.
It was a grind. Yeah, when I got my start selling insurance, I was opening a gym at 4 a.m. because I was like, I need some money to pay rent, and then trying to sell insurance. And unfortunately, at that point, the only other people I knew were all 19 and 20-year-olds that couldn't afford it. And so it was definitely a challenge in the sales realm for sure.
A good way to lose friends quickly.
Yes. Yeah, every time they saw my name on the phone. Good news is, like most financial advisors, the ones that are listening, like we may start there by accident, but eventually I think the goal is to become what you've channeled in your life is like, how do I become a coach, an encourager, a teacher? And I know in my career, as I've tried to move from salesperson to that camp, that resonates. Like people are drawn into that. Nobody likes to be sold anything.
Yeah. So true. So true. It's all about relationships. And I don't care what sector you're coming from. Yeah. You're building rapport, which means you're going to create conversions, but it has to start with connection first.
Yeah. I love that your story is you had great coaches. Mine is the opposite. I look back and part of this is probably my story, not great with authority, pushing back. Maybe that's one reason I got into owning businesses and stuff. But I was probably hard to lead. I was probably that frustrated youth. And I look back now knowing that those coaches also had kids and lives they're running, like their world was busy. But when I hear people that had coach or teacher stories that were mentors, patient guidance, there's something to me that I'm like a little jealous of that because I was like, that just wasn't my story at all. What would you say to somebody that has that feeling?
It's hard to replicate the gifts that we receive, from mentors, and many of them probably were teachers or significant role models in life. I don't know if you need to look back and track and play the comparison game at all. We've all been life altered by other humans in our lives. My wife was a school teacher. I was a school teacher. I got bored. I went into administration. I had a number of colleagues that were like the life-altering character types that I had a chance to link arms with. So it wasn't always looking back. I mean, that got me my start. But then who are you connecting to through the journey, I think is ultimately the most important thing, right? To continue on that journey. So yeah, deeply enriched by some great humans in my life.
Yeah, I appreciate the awareness of like, no matter who you maybe were surrounded by when you were younger and maybe didn't have the choice or the awareness to choose, as very quickly you can start choosing. Like who do I follow? Who do I surround myself with? And I've been thankful now that I didn't really have like the mentor where the clouds parted and there was this one advisor 20 years ahead of me that just came and like showed me the path. But I've had these like mentor by committee that as long as I'm open-minded, like they are there, willing and able if I'm receptive. And so
good.
I'm thankful. Well, that was my story early on, was like I pushed back against it. Uh, Eventually, I'm thankful that I was open-minded and those people did come, because yeah, those are powerful relationships. People that speak in, challenge you, that you trust. Um, and I do find coaches and teachers are in such a great position to do that.
Yeah, many of them, I think, not only that you trust, but they have taught me how to trust myself, right? Trusting me to deal with some of the inhibitions that we all struggle with, right? Oh, I wonder if, giving yourself the worthy card to say, no, 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 you are worthy to step into this bigger arena and to fight a bigger fight. So, yeah, again, it all tracks back to the people in our lives.
Yeah. So you were teaching, you're still coaching, but what does it look like nowadays? Like, what this arena you did step into, if you could catch our
Yeah,
listeners.
I think lifelong education is a lifelong thing. My guess is you're probably imparting information with people through this podcast,
Oh,
and
yeah.
your team, how you're building their capacity. I think we're all teachers. I do believe in gift sets that we're given. Right, we're given at birth. We're given gift sets that say that, some of us are called to teach. I'll be honest with you. Miss Becky, my wife, is called to teach. She's really good at it. I had to fake a lot of that because it wasn't my true gift set. My true gift set is truly finding the potential in others
Nice.
and sorting through some of the interference and some of their inhibitions to find that gold and go, oh my God, look at what you are created to do. That is the gift that I've been given, and I've been able to parlay that from, working as a classroom teacher to a school administrator to an adjunct faculty member in higher ed to now having a little consulting practice where built an entire framework around how do you get your teams, because I'm a believer in 80% of your best work across any sector has to happen with collective intelligence. I'm not that smart, but I'm really smart in this area.
Yeah.
Right?
I love that. Yeah, we use a term that you cannot reach your potential without a team. And in the
Amen.
advisor realm, what that looks like is that a lot of advisors are the solo shop. They're processing the paperwork. They're being the advisor. They're scheduling their meetings. And at the end of the day, like probably 20% of that is your superpower. Like, if we can get you to live in that, it does require you to use some technology, but typically it requires other people to step in. The challenge with that, and why I love unpacking this topic, is then it almost opens up a whole new box for advisors of like, wait, I have to lead. Like, I just learned how to sell and kind of manage my business and put out fires. But now if I do hire people, that opens up this whole new realm of growth and discomfort that I have to learn how to lead people. And I know for me, that's been a big learning curve.
Yeah, it opens up a whole box of complexities as well. The larger your team, the more complex your issues become. The mom and pop shops, where you've got a couple of people that are just kind of doing everything, there's not as much complexity there. I would push back and say, and there's probably not as much joy in watching the growth and development and just that collective cohesion of people really all just running towards the same mission together. In my experience, there's no greater joy than watching people link arms in worthy work, right? In this loving community that we get to forge as leaders across whatever sector you happen to be in. So I totally agree. Without teams, we're all just kind of lost. My team with Miss Becky, I learned so much just like in the first few years of marriage where, man, we love each other, but we fell out of like in a hurry.
Wow.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, we
You
like
said it.
I don't like you because you're a lot different than me,
Yeah.
right?
You're
After,
revealing than me. Yes.
but we love each other, which means, man, the Dukes are always up. In the good times and the bad, to know that I need to see her as she is, not as I am.
Yeah.
Right. So much of that, I think, really moves into the integration from being self-aware as a leader of your business to becoming more socially aware. And I I think that's where adults become true grown-ups,
Yeah, that's a
right?
great. What do you see? I think if your purpose is personal income, you may run from the discomfort or what's revealed in you when you do have others around and you need to level up. It does feel like there has to be some more of a purpose, like you said, like somewhat of a calling to lift others up. And you go from like I'm a salesperson trying to just make a comfortable life for myself to I'm a business owner and a leader that's trying to lift others up. That feels like a huge leap. What do you experience in people when they start sitting in that? Do they kind of want to run from it? Does it come natural to more people than I would think?
I'm not quite sure which angle to take this on. I think we all have performance. If that's a bottom line of something. In in education, it's learning. For higher ed, it's enrollment. In my whole life business, it really was the revenue line,
Yeah,
right? So we all have performance. I'm gonna write. I'm gonna write down a. Were you good at math as a kid?
kind of. Yeah,
Kind of.
pretty good.
I usually do this on the screen, but we don't have one here. Your big P equals little p minus I. Yeah, we're getting real high tech.
There it
Okay,
is. Yep.
there it is. So that big P is your performance. Whatever your bottom line is, you got to show up there,
Hmm.
right? And hopefully it's something that has more to it than strictly a dollar. Wealth comes in so many different forms, right? But that performance performance is oftentimes when you think of that little p as your potential. And that's what I get really, really excited about because I don't think we even know as humans
Hmm.
how much potential we have been given. Um, and I don't think it's a generational thing, but I it's interesting. I'm a Xer. What are you? What are you?
I think I'm on the line on something. I'm
Are
38
you a
right
millennial? You're one of those millennials, aren't you?
now. That's
Oh,
right.
my God. Okay. I heard about you. I read about you. And then we got our Xers. I've got 3 kids. 2 of them are millennials, and then the other one is this Xer. And yeah, the two millennials are much different than my youngest. But I tell you what, they all have potential. They might see the world a little bit different. Um, but I think the key is to know that potential minus your I is your interference, the stuff that's getting in your way. The stuff that's getting in your way. Oftentimes, it's that 3.5 pounds of mass in between your ears,
Sure.
right? That is just filled with fear, or not recognizing that more things are actually possible. It gets in the way of ultimate performance. So if you can work with a leader to truly point to the potential that they have. I love working with leaders, and I say it's like me lifting up the hood to their GTO going, whoo, oh my, look at that. Did you know that you're wired to do this, this, and this really well? And there's something inside of them all the time. This is a life work for me. It's kind of my street performance. I can point it out real quick to go, you were created to do this kind of work and find ultimate joy in it. Are you doing that? And oftentimes I used to, but then I got a promotion. Now I'm doing work that I hate. I'm getting paid decently, but it opens up all sorts of different stories. It opens up all sorts of opportunities to talk about human potential.
What I felt when you said that is the potential that Joe leads me in a path that requires me to make some really big life choices. That as soon as somebody, scratches that surface and reveals something to me, I mean, it's like almost like you're leaving job stuff, like you're moving to a different state stuff. What does that spectrum look like from like, yeah, there's some really massive, courageous moves you may need to make to find joy and purpose. What does it look like when you coach people where it's like you can improve in this category currently where you are?
Yeah, that's most of the time what I really strongly encourage. You don't have to drop the knapsack altogether.
Yeah.
Right. Let's look for opportunities right now where you happen to be. If you're the CEO of your company, you can lead it in different ways, right? Empowering other people to do the things that you really objectively not very good at. Let's just be vulnerable and honest about what those things happen to be, and quit putting this facade that says you're bulletproof and I can do all. I believe we can do all things, but all things within this zone of potential. That I just there's an asterisk there within that zone of potential, and oftentimes it's really looking at their values. If they value family and they're thinking about, because sometimes you get a real creative soul that goes, oh my goodness, you are spot on. I'm quitting tomorrow. I'm going to hop in get in the U-Haul. And we're like, oh, just pause for a minute. What about the kids?
Yeah.
You really want to pull them out of school right now? And, so you take a look at those other circles of influence. And again, as we mature in life, we have to realize that I'm leading more than just me here.
That's true.
I'm leading the family. I'm leading my team. I'm leading my organization, and also I'm leading in my community. Hopefully,
Yeah.
Right. But it gives them that. I pull my glasses off and go, "Oh, I used to see the world as I was," but I think we are given the ability to have other things revealed to us in being able to see through what isn't, but be able to poke at it and go, this might be true of you. And usually there's something like gloriously coming out of their eyes. They're like, you are reading my mail.
Wow. Yeah.
It's beautiful. It is beautiful. I call that PQ in this whole TQ thing. We'll maybe get to it. If we don't, not a problem. I'm not soliciting anything, but I've created a construct that just makes it make sense to this guy. Okay. I'm not the smartest, so I had to create a very simple heuristic.
Yes.
To make
Which I appreciate. And as I was reading through it, it made sense that you were an educator. At times I've been around some inspirational people that leave me feeling stuff, but I'm like, well, then what? Like, what do I do with these feelings or these thoughts I now have? So yeah, if you could unpack, I mean, TQ, love the, the team intelligence. If you can start walking us through some of the frameworks and what you've learned, because people listening will feel something, hopefully feel inspired, but it's like, okay, now what do I do with that information?
Yeah. So again, it kind of came, I've been doing this work of leading people and systems since 2013. I stepped out of the superintendency. So I ran all the way up the org chart in education. And I honestly thought that I had arrived, but still just had this rumble in my belly, like, also to realize, just my temperament type is very creative. It's almost, you see things that aren't right. So working in an institution with walls and it confined me so much that I realized at that point I needed to step out and work on systems and not in them to be most effective.
Makes sense.
So in that work, I journeyed through becoming an executive leader, coach, working just with the leader. And there are thousands of people out there that are doing it much better than I could. But that was, I cut my teeth doing that work, working with system leaders. But then this thing happened, and it was actually kind of around COVID time. I don't know if I had a fever dream during COVID or what it was, but just this awakening to realize that I'm giving objective language to the leader, but they can't give it to the team. The team can't necessarily understand that leader's self-awareness. There's got to be a way that we can create a social language that helps people understand what's it really like to be on the other side of me. Wow. So, that's where this construct really came from in both the framework and the tools, if you will. So the framework, TQ, became this team intelligence. How do you create an objective system that have people understanding just the level of diversity that nobody's talking about in the leadership space? How I think differently than you do, right? Mm-hmm. How I connect differently than you do. How I can see differently than you do. We all know what IQ is, right? Yeah. So that's one of the. So there's three connecting circles, if you will. So there's IQ, EQ, and PQ. IQ is that just can you solve a problem, right? Do you have the skills and the experiences to move us from to do to done, right? And in my quest to truly learn all three of these areas of intelligence very well, I also realized that we kind of tap out. You're not there yet. You're still getting smarter. I'm not. By about 80, by about the age of 45, we can't get much smarter in the IQ space. Our IQ kind of hits the ceiling.
Okay, that's good to know.
So if that's the case, it's like, well, most retirement packages aren't kicking in at that
Right.
age. We still need to contribute.
Yeah.
But then it's our ability to almost become really wise and connected, right?
Mm,
It's that wise sage, that doctor that knows, but also has this beautiful bedside manner, that EQ,
yeah.
right? Understanding, having that a way to just connect with the emotive tendencies of another. That is, some are saying that that's a commodity even more valuable today, is truly being able to connect, like eyeball to eyeball, heart to heart, with others. So that's IQ and EQ. Most people understand those two.
Yeah.
The PQ part, that's confusing to people. They understand DQ. That's the ice cream store. Maybe you don't have those in Nashville.
I've got great Blizzard memories. You're good.
Okay, good. But this PQ thing is confusing to people, and it's oftentimes the one thing that is left missing across
Mm,
teams and systems: the ability to see what isn't. Right. So one's just social awareness. Right. It's the boss that has broccoli in the teeth and doesn't realize it and just continues to go on and on, and everybody else is just head down wondering, how are we going to address this. It's the person that sends the 4 p.m. Friday afternoon urgent email, right? It's the kind of the get it ticket. Some of us have it. I think it can be built up, but others need a little bit more work in that space. So those three pieces coming together, we can be a little muscle bound in some of the areas. Some of us are a little more competent, driven than we are connected. And you know what that brings? It's kind of this resistance. Like, I understand your theory and I believe that you're right, but I'm growing not to like you. So
yeah.
I'm not quite sure if I want to do this. The reality is, across systems, I teach this to teams, and people in their eyes, they tell me I understand it, but they don't want to acknowledge it. It's the 60% thing across organizations, specifically across the public sector. You're going to get 60% engagement of your people,
Wow.
which means they're coming to work with a lot of discretionary effort, kind of tucked away, going, not sure if I'm going to give it today. And a lot of that stems from just, I don't know if you really see me, boss, right? I don't know if you really value me. So that's, again, back to that connectivity piece, that EQ piece, how important it is to build that level of cohesion across the organization, because you're paying them full time,
That's right.
right? They're getting paid 100%.
I thought
That's
you were about
not a
to
very,
teach
that's,
a compensation structure that would go up and down based on how much effort they gave.
yeah, but oftentimes it's hidden, right? You don't know. You think it's 100%, but it's a pretty sweet gig for somebody that's just given 60% effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you feel with? I resonate fully when you say that. I think there's an element of, like, they'll never care as much as I do about the business,
Hmm.
in the way I do. Maybe that's a better way to put it. So is it about kind of inspiring themselves in their story? Like, what gets them closer to 100%? If it's not just in them, they're not just, I by my compass, I have to give 100% if I'm getting paid 100%, or maybe they think they do. It's just not unlocked. What's the practical steps where you can help somebody? Is the motivation need to change, where you just inspire them to live a more full life? Like, how does the 60 get bumped up?
Yeah, I think motivation is overrated. You better hire motivated people.
Got it.
I
Yep.
don't honestly, I don't think you can motivate anybody. I've tried to
Mm,
motivate. I was a football coach, and the kids came to me either motivated or not motivated. You can inspire. That's a whole different thing.
got it.
Right? You inspire the heart based upon, here's a mission that I don't know if we could do, unless we're truly working at our full capacity. even a variable comp plan, I haven't seen it as strong as having just solid inspiration going, do you think we could put that flag and that hill over there and win that day?
Hmm.
Everybody wants to be a part of a winning team. And if you can find, because we're all designed differently, if you can truly understand not how to motivate others, how to best inspire, how to best empower, how to best engage. We all have our own little scratch off engagement code, right? If you ask me what I'm thinking about, that's all I do is think about stuff.
That's
Oh,
right.
let me tell you,
Yeah.
right? I know at least one other person on your team. If I asked him, "Hey, tell me something exciting. Give me give me some good news." I better budget about 20 minutes because
He
he's
would,
just going to come fast and furious,
yeah.
right? But that's a way that we engage, right? I need to listen to my wife as we walk the dog every single day when she comes home from school. I need to have her walk through the play by play of the first 10 minutes of her day that takes an entire hour. I need to be able to do that because I love her.
Yeah.
You know, what are we willing to do for those that are built differently than us out of love? That means we fight for them. That's a core value of mine personally, but it's also a core value of our company. We say love is defined as fighting for the greatest good of the other as other.
Hmm.
It doesn't get real squishy. That means no. We put the dukes up and we both support. And there are times when we need to aggressively challenge each other, right? Because of that spirit of just empowering and engaging and creating really that culture that is, here's how we do things around here. And people are attracted to healthy bosses and healthy cultures.
Yes. What would you say? I went through a period where, I had a heart to want to serve my people, and it turns out I attracted not the most motivated people. And after years of trying to motivate them, I realized, like, I think the wrong people are on the bus. And so I had to go through this process of owning the fact that I was the one that let those people in, but now I'm growing and changing and realizing this has to change, hoping they would rise with me, realizing it's not happening, and then having to go through this big shift. Very emotional, challenging season of business. I come out of it thinking I need to hire better, inspire better. Like, I've learned a lot from it. For those listening, most of us, I think, as business owners, we want to lead well. I think very few would say, like, I want to wake up and, like, emotionally wound my team members today.
Right.
So the awareness is big. And I think it's one of those things where it's like, you don't know what your potential is. Like, you probably right now can't even see what an amazing leader you can be yet. It's nice, the idea that there are people like you that can speak into that and awaken it in people. What would you say to the people listening now that are like, I don't feel like I'm living in a superpower as a leader. I have the desire to do it, but there's a disconnect there. I mean, obviously, I don't know how many clients you can take on. It's like, hire Dr. Joe, he comes in and levels you up. But what are some smaller steps that people can take?
Yeah, I think the first is just acknowledging that you're not a know-it-all, right? Even though you might be extremely successful and lots of chevrons on your sleeve in terms of experience. And I don't have a stat for you, but it's pretty alarming if you just do your own Google research, right? Um, how many people are leaving organizations and bosses because they don't truly know and understand who they are,
Hmm.
right? Because we're pretty subjective. Hey, I know you're a female. I know you're probably a Xer. We generalize, but when you can, I think, crack that code, and it has to be very, very intentional, not subjective, right? I tried for 20 years. I wish I could talk to myself 20 years ago, because I diminished my influence every single day because I just didn't see the world as it was. I saw the world as I was. So I think that's the first step. It's just having a good, solid, humble self-awareness to go, my guess is I probably don't understand more than I know, right?
Yep.
And then to manage against maybe your own tendencies, because we all have tendencies, right? I do my own podcast every Thursday. I enjoy being on that side of the mic more than this side of
Yeah.
the mic. Um, And when I'm with clients and when I'm doing keynotes and when I'm doing coaching and workshops, and I'm just on fire. But the minute I'm done and hop on back on the airplane, I stuff those earbuds in because I'm a raging introvert. I'm like, I didn't know that of myself 20 years ago.
Wow.
If so, to understand some of those tendencies that we have,
That's
right? I'm
great.
a big picture person. I'm going to be tripping over details all day long. If I don't know that of myself, it's diminishing my influence with somebody that is high IQ that got up this morning thinking the ledger sheet, and I just skipped 8 steps, and now I'm an
Mm.
idiot. Right?
Yep.
So those would be the first 2 steps. I think just your own self-awareness and then managing against those tendencies that might be getting in your way.
Yeah, I love that. I truly believe you cannot reach your potential without a team, especially in this business. I see too many advisors that are frustrated, overworked. They've just created a really hard job for themselves. It's like, no, I'm a business owner. I was like, I don't know if you're a business owner. Like that business, like you are just an overworked employee with a really a boss with terrible boundaries because you're
Mm.
working all the time. Then my hope is they listen that there is on the other side of some discomfort and growth in this, and I've gone through this, a healthy team with motivated people where you're able to impact more people and live more in the things that bring you joy. I couldn't have understood it until I felt it. And I was like, oh, okay, this is possible. And I don't ever want to go back.
But you had to start there. I mean, there's grace. I think there's grace for wherever we started, right? Cruddy first drafts that's growth.
Version 1. That's right.
V1. And it's always good to look back and just realize that Gretzky was probably a little bit wobbly on skates for a while.
Right. Well, Michael didn't make his high school team. That's the one that always runs through my mind.
Exactly. But we all have that persistence gene. We all do, just like we have potential. We have the ability to endure through and to go, this is a teachable moment for me. And maybe I'm paying tuition because resources are drained right now because I'm so bad at it. But look at what this makes possible, right? So having that hope-filled mind, I'm a big faith, hope, love guy. And I think faith is let's try. That's my definition of faith. Let's try. My definition of hope is, that didn't work. Let's try again.
Nice.
Right? Yes. And you've heard my definition of love. It's just putting your dukes up and fighting for the best good of your people. All of them. Right?
Yeah. I do think that means yourself. And I think that was an element of my business where it felt really good. Like fighting for others was obvious and like, hey, this is good. It gives me good feedback. There's an element of like standing up for yourself in that too. Because that matters in the big equation that can't be forgotten.
Yeah, we have to be, I think, healthy people become healthy leaders. I haven't met a healthy leader that wasn't first a healthy person. And I'm not just talking burpees and drinking water, right?
Cold showers, all the things.
Yeah, all that stuff. And it's only the healthy leaders that can really build these healthy teams. And many sectors are getting blown up right now. The whole, the tech revolution right now is absolutely just changing industries overnight. So the ability to build healthy teams that can look at those systems issues and go, we have to be courageous and do things entirely different because creativity and fear, they just don't mix. Right? We have to have more innovation, more ingenuity, more just open box thinking about how are we going to, the mission hasn't changed. Our methods might have to change quite a bit.
Yeah. Well said. That's a good place to leave off. I appreciate you, Joe.
Appreciate you too. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, I'll talk soon.
Peace.